Lindsay Palmer. I am from Laconia, New Hampshire originally, but now I live in Mooresville, North Carolina. I've been down here for 8 years now. Straight out of high school, I moved down here for racing. I knew I wanted to do something with racing, so I went to NASCAR Technical Institute and then decided I just wanted to stay down here because it's a lot warmer down here than the north. So when I was a kid, I used to have temper tantrums every time my dad would go to the track and I couldn't go with him. So he started bringing me with him. And then at first, I just started spectating, and then I could old enough to go into pits. So we'd buy tires for people, we'd help out where we could. Sometimes we'd be at a track and it'd just be me, him, one other guy, and the driver. And I was like, I don't know what we're gonna do if we wreck, but I guess I'll stand here and look pretty. But I got into a little bit more, like I'd help do tires sometimes, or like I said, just try to be useful. So when I was a kid, he worked for Roush, and I thought that was always like really cool because my dad, he never even graduated high school, and here he is working for NASCAR. And I always just thought that was the coolest thing ever.
And what years roughly did you work for them?
It was around 96 to 2000. So when I was in college, I did all the automotive stuff as well as the high performance motorsports stuff. So we did everything from fabrication. They even made me do pit stop class. Don't know why, I'm not built to be a pit crew member, but I had to do that too. Well, I don't have very good ability of driving, but I always like to tinker with things and learn how stuff works and stuff like that. Like, especially now in like shipping, like pulling the parts, learning the difference between the parts, where they go, like seeing it on a race car, like all sorts of things. Like I like to just be involved and just always learn new things. My favorite is definitely like the super late models, the pro stocks, short track, oval, like that sort of thing. But I do enjoy just about every kind of racing there is.
And why is it? Why do you like watching it? What is like, is there a visceral thing that you like about it?
I'm a people person, so like when I go to the track, it's like family, X, Y, and Z racer. But this person ran out of something, this person's helping them, like just a sense of like the family, and like seeing these people, like especially where I used to work at a go-kart track, and seeing these kids grow up and advance throughout their racing career. Like it's always like cool to see that people thrive the way they do at the track as well. I always, like I said, I'm a big people person, and I try to like be a good role model for someone, and definitely being female in motorsports, it's not usual. So like to me, I like to be that person that one kid just happens to see and says, oh, I can do that too.
Do you think the minority and or female in motorsports narrative is overplayed? Is it a little too much? Is it not enough? Like where do you think that is in its evolution?
I feel like they either talk about it or they don't, and when they do talk about it, it's just focused on like the same people, when they should be talking about like the people that do it every day, and they do it just to do it, not just because they want to say, hey, I'm a female in racing. Like to me, I'm a female, I can't control that, but I can control what I like to do, and if it affects other people, so what? To me, I feel like I'm one of the dudes. It doesn't matter that I'm a girl, but I feel like they don't talk about it enough, but when they do, it's just like over-exaggerated.
I don't know if I was gonna go there. It was on the table. I got to know Greg Ives good because he's from probably 20, 30 minutes from where I'm from, and grew up racing at the same track. So I got to know him pretty good and got in contact. And I came down here for a school tour once, and he took me on a shop tour, and it was definitely on the table. But then once we started to get more in depth with our stuff, this is it made more sense to come here to learn more about the super late model stuff. Not saying the NASCAR stuff wouldn't help, but I felt like staying here was a little better option.
Take the Volvo, it'll help. Yep. 1, 2. You need to put a shock rod on it. Take that dust cap off.
The same thing. Oh, really? I thought I saw somewhere that you were doing a store appearance with your car.
Oh, that was a couple years ago, but that was just like a memory shared on Facebook. That was probably 4 years ago now.
And do you like signing autographs? Is that weird?
It's not weird, because I was that little kid too, going up to every driver trying to get the flag signed or an autograph signed. So it's cool. It's cool to see still, you know, people into the sport, kids and stuff, trying to, you know, maybe them being at the racetrack, they'll try and get in the sport as well. I got so far one race planned. It's the Dixieland 250 up in Kaukauna, Wisconsin. Other than that, I'm not 100% sure. Maybe some stuff down here with Ethan. But
And you put all new front suspension on your car. How did that all turn out?
It went well. I just need a little more time with it, trying to figure out everything. You know, we went up and raced the red race at Kaukauna, and we were okay, but it just needs to be a little bit more. We struggled a little bit, but I think the driver needs a little bit of practice too. I'm a little rusty. With changing that, with what we changed, it was more to be kind of on the same page as everybody else is what we're doing here. So it was easier, it would be easier to get information and learn how to change with the information quicker and faster, instead of not guessing, but kind of taking your time and trying to figure it out how to do it that way instead of just doing it that way.
Are you seeing the level of sophistication in terms of data collection and setups and everything? Is it increasing or staying the same?
It's definitely increasing. I think the same. There's always been, you know, good teams in Wisconsin and Michigan that can come down and run anywhere and run good. So I think it's definitely, there's not a lack of information back home, really. There's a lot of good teams and strong teams that run good everywhere they go.
And what is the update with your love life?
Oh, yeah. You're not gonna put that in there, are you? I don't know. I'm too busy.
Another autograph signing?
Maybe another autograph. Maybe if I can like run good at one of these races and not be so rusty, maybe I could get some. But no, it's still a struggle bus right now. I'm front seat on the struggle bus.
My name is Frank Chandler Evans Jr. and I'm from Tamworth, New Hampshire. 24, just turned 24 on Friday. I've been here for about 7 months now.
And what brought you down?
My brother, he moved down here after college. I went to the University of Northwestern Ohio. Yeah, I have an associate's degree in automotive high performance. I build parts. I help with little stuff as far as chassis-wise goes. Basically, in most of the directions as far as welding and metalwork goes that people need me. You know, I thought about that when I was in school, and I've always been into the short track, non-professional-ish type stuff instead. So, no, not really.
Do you think you came to that where that sport is going, or were you just always a big fan of short track?
Some of both. I haven't really loved where that's going lately, so, and I just grew up around the short track stuff, so. I'm pretty athletic. I like to do hiking stuff. I like to do, I play the drums. Music's a big thing for me. I like so many bands, that's a tough one. That's a real tough one. I don't know if I can answer that.
Favorite rock band?
It depends, classic rock or new rock? I really love, if we're going for classic rock, I love Creedence Clearwater Revival.
John Bonham or Neil Peart?
Neil Peart.
Why?
I don't know. I just like his stuff better. I don't know. You know, that's funny you say that, because I grew up and everybody around me had big trucks and all this stuff. And I was like, you know, I really just want to do something different. So I actually have a couple of small trucks like that one that I went lower instead of higher. I've always wanted a 65 Chevelle SS, because my father had one way before I came around, and he said it was his favorite car, so I've always wanted one. He was hands-on. He raced in the 80s and the 90s until my brother and I came around, and then we started racing go-karts. And
what did he race?
He raced street stocks and late models. My first memory, I think I was about 6 years old, and we were actually at Beach Ridge in Maine, and there was a rule that you couldn't run off into the pits for where they run the big cars at around there. And I remember running off into there, and we got in big trouble because we weren't supposed to do that. As a kid, I was very into being busy. You know, if it had to do with taking something apart, put it back together. I mean, when I was a kid, I took my own training wheels off my bicycle. So I was one of those that I wouldn't really say I did everything by myself, but I definitely did a lot on my own. Yes, I've spent my whole life actually learning from my elders and really trying to pay attention to what they've said. So, and I'm very grateful for the people that I've learned from and the people that have kind of taken me under their wing and taught me a lot.
My name's Ethan Bryce Hutchins. I'm from Boonville, North Carolina, and I'm 28 years old. Oh man, since I was 14, 12 to 14, somewhere in there is when I started racing. I've been around racing ever since I was a toddler. Yeah, my dad actually, he worked on a bunch of cars around the Bowman Gray Stadium. They went to Hickory, done some things back then, and then my uncle, he races drag cars. He just passed away last year. But he raced drag cars, and my dad's been around circle track pretty much his whole life too. Straight in.
You got Cam.
Straight in. Started out behind a wrench. Then I went go-kart racing for a short period of time. And I was like, well, I ain't gonna make no money at driving these things, so I'm gonna figure out how to make them go fast for everybody else. No, it was always a crew. There was always multiple ones. Just at least 3 or 4 a night that I was working on at the stadium.
And you have 3 kids, married 3 kids?
Yep.
And what are your kids' ages?
The oldest one is 12, the middle one's 11, and the youngest one's 5, little girl.
And are they getting into it all?
Yeah, the oldest one, he's starting to turn some wrenches with me. I keep him in the shop pretty much every evening I get home. We head out there.
And explain to me the importance for the younger generation to learn how to build something, fix something with their hands.
Yeah, I mean, if you can't build it, you probably ain't gonna be able to buy it. The way this world's going, you better be able to figure out how to make something go out of what you got. It's kind of like history repeats itself. Back in the day, they had to learn how to make stuff to, make their lives go on. Same way now.
How closely do you pay attention to or try and push the boundaries of innovation?
Oh man, all the time. I'm always coming up with something new.
What is the craziest thing that at one point you got away with but actually got busted for?
Haven't really gotten busted before. It's been close, but it never has come about, or they found it.
I won't ask you what it is.
No, I can't tell everything. Normally, the eastern side, I went with one of the employees here. I went out west with them to the Dixieland, and that was a good little trip. I'd like to go back. We're hoping to do that again this year. Mainly here in the North Carolina, run with Carolina Pro Late Model Series. I run my personal late model stocks at Hickory and Ace, stuff like that, and then a limited late model as well.
And then how did you end up here?
Man, I kind of messaged Eric about some stuff that I needed built one time before, and I messaged him and Jim both because I didn't know which one I was going to get a hold of first, and they both responded. And then Eric asked me to go with him to the track one week, and then it just hit it off from there, and I was working somewhere else, and that's how I met Cameron, the other employee here that I went to the Dixieland with. Met him, and then he actually drove my car several times, and Cameron's like, hey, why don't you come work with us? And I was like, I'll think about it. He's like, man, we sure could use some help. And I said, worst comes worst, I'll apply, see what happens. And then it's just a friend of a friend, and that's how it all came about. All over, don't hurry.
It seems your wife is a bit of a racing nerd too.
Oh yeah.
Was that by design, or did she get into it because you were?
Yeah, she got into it because of me. She was never really into it before, but now she's as far into it as I am, if not further.